What's up, everybody? True Internet coming at you today. We got another Marvel Crisis Protocol video, and this time I'm doing an interview with one of the people that inspired me to do YouTube for Marvel Crisis Protocol, and that is Gamer Guild. Sorry, Nate GG from Gamers Guild. Is that, do I have that right?
Uh,
Or
yes,
yes,
yes, I
we'll
have
go
that
with
correct.
that. Sorry about that. I'm terrible with names. I apologize. But yeah, he does. He's the Gamers Guild channel over on YouTube. Does a wonderful job with all of his Marvel Crisis Protocol content. I call him, like I said, like he started the whole thing. Like he was like the first guy I saw out on YouTube doing Marvel stuff, and everybody from there just picked it up and went along with it. But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, man, and tell us about you, your channel, all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I am Nate of the now apparently famous Gamers Guild, at least famous maybe in the Marvel Crisis Protocol circles.
Yep.
But I've just got a small YouTube channel that has battle reports, character reviews, and just occasional talk about MCP, whether that's maybe like getting into a roster that I'm excited for, or just kind of thoughts on the state of the game or something. But it's been a lot of fun getting to kind of create that and help build up this community.
Yeah, man, you're doing a wonderful job. And like I said, I mean, when this game came out, I was probably one of the happiest people on the planet. I don't know if you know my background, but my miniature gaming, I was playing Guild Ball. Wasn't too happy with it at that point in time. And then this game got
Apparently, neither
announced.
they were they.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, weren't either. But then Marvel came out, and I think it was what 2019 of November 2019. It got announced that August at Gen Con, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. And I remember correctly, man. I was looking on YouTube. I was like, okay, who's talking about Marvel? Who's doing what? Whatever. Where? Then boom, I see gamers going. I think I remember your first video, man. I think you were talking about the rules or something like that, or
My
gameplay.
very first video was I got a demo on camera at Gen
Yeah.
Con.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes, and I was with Dallas Kemp, right? I
It
think.
was not. I wish.
Oh,
It
okay.
was against random other individual who agreed to be on camera for the demo.
Okay, cool. Got it. Awesome. No, that's really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, I mean, I know the typical answer is, hey, Marvel Comics, that's what pulled you in. But what pulled you into this game, like outside of that? Like, was there anything else that got you into it?
So like yeah, sure. There's like the MCU is going on, and the comics are awesome. I'm a Marvel over DC person by just like a little bit. But one of the miniature games that I first like actually really got into was the Night Models Marvel Miniatures Universe game.
Okay.
And it for whatever reason it kind of like mysteriously disappeared overnight,
Yeah.
and like apparently product that was in warehouses had to be destroyed, like so like all the pieces are extremely hard to find at this point unless you had them beforehand. And so I was just kind of like, oh my goodness, like it's another Marvel game. Like this is going to be kind of my go-to. Found out that it was the guys from Privateer Press who had a pretty good reputation about them and kind of their passion for community and stuff, which I think has shown through excellently. And I was just kind of like, okay, cool. Like originally, I was going to that Gen Con to cover Star Wars Legion actually a little bit
Oh
because I was
wow.
like, all right, cool. I'm into this. Like I like that. And then while me and my wife are waiting in line to pick up our tickets for the events that we ordered and stuff, I'm Facebook is blowing up with like, oh my goodness, did you see at the end of the Fantasy Flight in-game report, new Marvel game? And I'm like, cool. I'm gonna spend so much time. I'm gonna bother the crap out of Will Shake, which is basically what I did. I just kind of got multiple demos in, was trying to figure out like, okay, how long are these different measurement tools? What can we know? So I was
Right.
just super all in and happy to have been kind of on the ground floor of the reveal and stuff.
Awesome, man. That is really cool. So you have, or are you still currently playing Legion, or
You know what? I've actually, for the first time in like 3 years, knocked the dust off of some
okay.
Legion stuff because we were playing MCP at the LGS, and somebody came in asking about Legion, and
Mm-hmm.
most everybody has like at least like the starter bet and a starter box and a couple of expansions worth of stuff. So I was like, you know what, dude? Like, we'll get you into this.
Mm-hmm.
We'll play a couple of Legion games, but then we're really just gonna actually get you hooked on MCP. Sorry, not sorry. But so we've got a little bit of Legion happening on the side right now, which is cool to knock the dust off of some of these pieces I painted up years and years ago.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm starting to get in Legion myself. We have a little bit of a scene here with that. It's hard to get a game in with that community. At least
Mhm.
here, locally. I know we have some people that come to our shop. There's been a bit of a change recently with the tables set up there. So I don't know if they're still going to be going there. I got to keep up with them somehow. But I have some figs myself. I've got like Republic stuff, clones and all that. So no, it's good to hear that you're playing that as well. Do you play that on TTS too, or is that just more
I have
local?
not messed with it at all on TTS.
Okay.
We are actually at this point we've mostly just stuck with the skirmish size game, so it's the 500 points.
Okay.
Much easier to knock out a game, almost in MCP kind of time windows, which is
Oh,
great.
sure. Absolutely. No, definitely it is. No, it's good to know, man. It's good to hear. So you mentioned night models, and that was one game, man, that like, like I think 2017-ish or something like that. I was looking to
Hmm.
get into, right? Because I'm like Marvel, and I'm at my height too with collecting comics at this point in time. I was
Hmm.
reading the Venom run and all this stuff, and I'm looking around. Is there any superhero miniature games? And I see night models, the Marvel thing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This looks amazing. And then, like you said, next thing you know, they were done. They were completely like just shut down and whatever. How was that game, by the way? Like, was it like
It was pretty
yeah?
good.
Okay,
Because I knew Night Models because of the Batman miniature game, but didn't have really a local scene for that at all.
right.
And I'm down in Nashville. But the thing that actually made me get into the Marvel one is there was a scene like an hour and 15 minutes away from me up in Kentucky
Ah,
that started like doing Marvel stuff, and I was like, man, nobody down here's playing it, but like I want to get into a new miniatures game because like I dabbled with War Machine Hordes,
mm-hmm.
and it was just a very competitive community down here, which was not great for me as a beginner trying to come in and learn the stuff. It just didn't work out.
Oh, for sure,
Uh, s-
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
it happens.
It happens. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
this was like the hey, like let's go like do miniatures. It's Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
and so drove up there, did that. The game itself though was it had a lot of similarities where there's kind of like a resource management thing going on, not it, at the same at all. But they had like mechanics for throwing terrain and throwing other characters
Mm-hmm.
and having once per turn superpowers and attacks and all that kind of stuff. So it ended up being really cool.
Awesome, awesome. By any chance, with the models that you had, and with because I know when the game first came out for Marvel Crisis Protocol, they came out with the rules immediately. Were you one of
Mhm.
those that like, hey, let's just find some D8s and see how this game plays or whatever? Did you do that, or did you think,
I absolutely did. I 3D printed out the measuring sticks. I
okay?
used Star Wars Legion movement
Oh
tools. Like
man,
went all in. Started testing. Actually, with one of the guys that headed up that Bowling Green community, came down and we got a game in.
nice.
Originally, we even filmed one, but then it was my first attempt at ever filming a game. It did not go well. But
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. We were like, okay, cool. The eight's gonna be a crit, a seven's gonna be a wild, and
Okay.
all that ridiculousness.
Okay. No, that's awesome, man. So yeah, I mean, so you were the minute this game got announced, you were pulled in, you were like ready to go, and you moved on from, and you just stuck with it. Um, so got a question for you about. So then from there, you played in a couple TTS season leagues, right? I mean, because
Yeah,
pandemic shutdown, right? It's hard to get games in. You can't go anywhere locally. How many seasons have you played in so far in TTS?
I want to say three.
About
I'm
three.
not 100% sure about that, but I'm gonna say three.
Okay, cool. And then this last season, I think you were top 16, top eight. I don't remember.
I have not participated in the last two seasons actually.
Okay,
The last season I did participate in was season five.
that's what it
I
was. Okay,
took A Force to cut and then swapped to Cabal. Won one game against my one loss during the season, and then lost to I think either the winner or runner up of season five. So
okay, awesome.
I'm happy with that loss.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, hey, nah, I take it too, man. No, that's awesome. 'Cause I know how active you are in the Discord. I mean, you keep up with everyone. You know, you're chatting. You know, when someone talks about balance change, or you know, everyone's favorite topic right now is Thanos. I mean, you're one of the guys that jumps in, and you know has
Try
some
try
things
to
to
be
say.
try to at least have an opinion on stuff. No, at the very least, if I'm not in there chatting, I'm at least watching every now and again just to kind of see where the community's at and what they're thinking, because
Hmm.
it's good to keep a pulse on I guess the status of the game.
Oh, absolutely, no, for sure, definitely. And how's the local scene there now from MCP?
Man, I won't lie. Pandemic did a number on the scene, as
Yeah,
I feel like it did probably most places, but we're up to a point where we're consistently getting somewhere between 6 to 8 people to come out to play every week, which is awesome.
nice. That's good. I mean, right now it's a bit of a struggle for me here locally. Right now, I mean, I'm consistently getting maybe three or four.
Hmm.
Just the other day, though, they did well, not the other day, a couple months ago, like around January, around that time. Another store that's close to me here, just by chance, I was on Facebook, and they started up a league, and they got like 10 players to play in it. And I'm like, where the hell have you guys been? Like, I did a whole Facebook group and everything, right? And I'm
Hmm.
sitting there communicating. These same people are in that group, but I can't. They just went outside of it, made their own group, and started a league. And I joined that. And I got a chance to get to know those players, and which is a blessing because what's going to start happening here, at least going forward, we're trying to get another league going,
Hmm.
IRL, and we're going to try to get all the players together because there's some weird. I don't know what it is. Like it's people are just stuck to a store and they just kind of want to play there and not go anywhere else. Which
Hmm.
I don't get. I've never understood that. Like me, I go everywhere, man. And if I have to drive an hour or 2 hours away to get a game in, if I can make the time, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Because I don't have an affiliation. I just want to play. Like I don't care where I
Yep,
go.
you want to roll dice.
I just
I
want to
feel
roll
that.
dice, man. I just want to play, and I don't get that mindset. But hopefully, with this going on, you know, with the league and everything, we can finally get some players together and grow the scene here a little bit. But that's good to hear, man. You're consistently getting players, and that's amazing. So fast forward a little bit. All right, man. So your YouTube channel is doing great. By the way, congratulations. It's awesome. I think you do a
Thank
great
you. Yeah,
job. Yeah.
it's crazy cool to see and be on the, I guess, the hindsight of it for 2 or 2.5 ish years in at this point.
Yeah, about yeah.
It's cool to just see how the community's responded, and just super appreciative to the community that has responded. It's real cool. Thank you.
Oh no problem, man. And we do have a great community, man. You know, everybody that I've met, everybody, I mean, I've finally starting to meet these people from Discord that I've been talking to for the last couple of years.
Right?
Yeah, at LVO, I saw you at Adepticon. We didn't get to play, and that's my fault. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, dude, you're totally good. The
Yeah.
the team event you were in
Uh,
took it out of you and Omnis both, from what I could tell.
oh man, I was just anyway. That was just a whole debacle. But yeah, you know what? Let's piggyback off that for a second. So, um, Adepticon, we met. How was it for you, man? You know, because I know you won the tournament there, right? You took first.
Yeah, I took first at a couple of the events,
Gold
which
events,
was
yeah.
really cool.
You want to talk about that first event actually, how it was run and all that, and
Yeah, absolutely.
okay.
So the first event was the draft event, and I guess as a general blanket statement, if you want to see any of these events that we're going to be talking about, you can check out the professional casual
Yeah,
crew.
mm-hmm.
They stream, man. They were streaming nonstop all weekend.
Dude.
Bless them. Uh,
Dude, they were
but
non-stop. I mean, for
they
hours.
they at least had a rotation of people. They had a
Right.
full crew there. They were able to swap out and stuff. But kudos to them. They kept
Mm-hmm.
the commentary hilarious and fun and all that. So if you want to check out some of these games that we're going to talk about, you can do that over on their YouTube slash Twitch. But the first event, first day, was the draft, which was really cool. The What If draft is a snake draft, and if you're not familiar with that term, it's basically a draft where players 1 through 8 pick, and then it's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it's 1, 2. So it goes back and forth like a snake would look like. Um, and the twist though was after you kind of choose your leader and your affiliation, you are stuck using that leadership for all of your games. And but also like all characters count as affiliated. So at one point, I was running a team of Captain America Steve Rogers with Venom, Loki, and Spider Gwen or Ghost Spider, and that was Avengers.
That sounds amazing.
Oh, dude, it was so mean.
I
I,
bet it
I
was
felt
me. Yeah.
I felt bad for my last opponent, but so that's kind of the gimmick of it. It's a
Hmm.
lot of fun. The drafting experience, both to be able to like deny somebody a piece that they probably want. So like, oh man, they drafted Corvus. Somebody should probably draft Proxima so that they don't get the combo.
Right.
Kind of stuff is part of the fun of it, but also just building wild teams that can do absolutely ridiculous stuff because of the limitless affiliations and the tactic cards. You can do some fun stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was sick. I wish I had participated in that actually. That sounded like a whole. That sounded really, really fun. I should have just taken the day off and just went down there. Because that sounds like
I
a
mean,
blast.
yeah, there were only 8 people because we all drafted from one person's collection. Shout out to Mike, the TO, who painted up pretty much every single model that was out and let
Sick.
us play with those, which is really cool of him.
So sick. That is awesome. So yeah, and then I show up that Thursday night, right? I mean, you won the event. We got to meet a little bit.
Hmm.
Got just to play a game, and then I went and played the team tournament the next day. And I was looking for you, right? And I'm like, man, where's Nate? Is he gonna play in this? And I saw you, and you were just you're just exhausted. Like was it too much partying going on Thursday night, or or was it?
Not too much partying, but I definitely lost my voice early
Yeah.
on in the con. Like that, it was gone. So
That's,
I need to figure out how to better just start drinking more water early or
yeah,
something.
yeah, and
Uh,
that's
but
yeah.
but I also just kind of acknowledged I was like, cool. This is my first time at Adepticon, so I wanted to make sure to kind of have a day off to
Hmm.
explore the vendor hall, get in some demos of other games, just kind of see what the whole thing's about. And so I took off from the team tournament, and like it definitely seemed cool. You guys were having a blast with that, but at the same time, I'm also glad that I did give myself a day off to just kind of chill.
Yeah, and one thing that I've learned, well, the other thing is too, I have not played. I mean, since the pandemic, I have not played in a tournament like that since then.
Hmm.
I mean, granted, I played this year at LVO, and then a couple of months before that, I played at Second Wind, right? But even as I was
Yeah.
playing in those tournaments, man, dude, I forget how much you have to hydrate. I forget how much you have to eat snacks. Like, just take a break, man, because I mean, those days are long, right? Especially in a
Hmm.
game where it's like a 2 hour time limit. And if you're playing against a quality opponent too, right? I mean, it's a tight game and you're constantly thinking, and every move counts, every die roll counts. You know what I mean? I really, really, I'm starting to get used to it now. Especially that I've done it a little more often. But yeah, I mean, you made the right call. And on top of that, not just that in general. Like, I'm not here to bash anything. The team event, it was fun. It's a great idea. I think it should be implemented in almost every event, like as a Friday thing. You know what I mean? Maybe make Saturday the tournament day, and then maybe make
Hmm.
Friday like a team tour. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it's really good, but I cannot stress enough. You got to have clocks, and a decent. I didn't feel like we had enough time, and I didn't feel like there was an actual timer anywhere. There was a few games that went to time. First game with Matt against Matt Alex and Infamous. Everyone knows about that one. They just said, "Hey, dice down." We took the win. It was like, okay. We had another game, 8-1, against Zachary Break and Play, and his team and his teammate. I forgot his name. And again, that with the time, we didn't even know. We didn't even know we had 10 minutes left, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
think that that format definitely needs more time.
Absolutely.
Like extra six threat. Like if you're playing up just 26 threat, you
26,
also
yeah.
need like extra time to just kind of talk with your teammate and be like, cool, like
Right.
what are we doing? What are we strategizing here? And so I think, and it was the first time an event like that had ever been run for MCP. So I
Oh
think
yeah.
that there was a lot of testing and like modifying of like, hey, like taking some notes. What do we need to change? And that one, the dead giveaway is, yeah, a little bit more time would be great.
Yeah, a little bit more time, and just have something to remind us. I mean, there was like no timer like visible anywhere. Like
Hmm.
I know people are like, "Oh my god, chess clocks," but it's like if we had a chess clock, then I'd know, right? I'm like, okay, look, I look at the clock, I have an idea where we're at. Because that kind of in that last game that I lost, where I had enough at that point. I mean, it was late in the day. I mean, you probably saw my face. I was just angry. I was just tired, and I was like, okay, I don't want to do this. And there was other reasons why. There was another reason why we lost the game off of a decision that I thought we should make. We didn't make.
Yeah.
So it was one of those, and I was just like, oh my god, not
Yeah,
and
I won't
yeah.
lie. I saw the tilt takeover. It was
Yeah,
there.
it was there.
Uh,
Dude. Yeah, and when it's a long day, it gets worse, right?
mhm.
So like on top of that, me and Omnis, I think our previous match, our teammates, they were really cool, by the way. Their diorama had like this moon base kind of thing, and Thanos was on it, right? But they
Yeah, it was
all
the
the
margarita or
margarita,
something.
yeah. So we were drinking that and having some beer, and that led into it too. Um, and it was just I was like, I cannot play this game anymore. I'm like, just it's ended already, whatever. Because what ended up happening was Omnis, and he thought he was running out of time too, because with the timing of everything that was going on, he didn't know,
Hmm.
right? So he
Yeah.
was like, this game is probably over, and I'm like, Omnis, no one's mentioned time. And I'm like, just don't worry about the time until someone tells you. You know what I mean? But I understand why he mentioned that though, and I'm like, I get it. I mean, this has been that kind of day, but I can't stress that enough. I mean, it was just like, yeah, the timing killed it. And, I wanted to play in the singles tournament the next day. But my issue was that um, I was staying at my parents' house 30 minutes away, which isn't a bad drive. It really wasn't. I didn't have a hotel there. So I stayed at my parents' house and, coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I mean, that night I got home, got to my parents' house, ate some pizza. I passed out and then I woke up late. Right? 'Cause I was just exhausted, dude. I was just tired, and that's when they mentioned, "Hey, look, hey Chewy, we got a spot, blah blah." And I'm like, good. There, I was like, I could make it there to play in a tournament, but after yesterday, I'm like, I'm good. I was like, with how everything was running, I'm like, I'm good. I'll pass on this one, and then everybody else can just, hey, have a good time, take the spot, whatever.
Yep.
But that was my whatever reason I did play in the singles tournament. You ended up playing in that singles tournament that Saturday, and yeah, you want to talk about how you did there on Saturday? How it went?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I did pretty good. I brought Steve's Avengers and ended up going 6-0, which is kind of crazy looking back at it.
Yeah, yeah, dude, you wrecked it, man. I'm gonna say, man, you did very very well.
Yeah,
I mean, with
there were definitely some close games.
mm-hmm,
Had some great opponents. Omnis being one of them in the top four.
mm-hmm.
Uh, that was probably the closest game out of all. Granted, the last game also
Oh
totally came
sure,
down to a die roll, but just as far like that one was also just a bloodbath. The game with Omnis was very heavy on like the decision making and
yeah.
the points that we're doing and stuff. That felt like the mentally most taxing game. The other my last game against Aaron also
Mm-hmm.
extremely uh, hard and well played and stuff, but just in an entirely different way, I guess.
Oh, for sure, definitely. And Omnis, I mean, I got a chance to know him. I got a chance to play with him, and his style is mostly like just scoring points and um, try to not roll as much dice as possible. At least that's how the impression I got
Hmm.
when I played with him. I don't know if that's what you were gathering when you played against him there, but I could see why.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I definitely was the more aggressive of the two players
definitely.
as far as just like actually trying to get damage out and dazes out and stuff, and
Hmm.
it worked to my favor that game.
Absolutely. And then, yeah, I mean, then the finals, you ended up playing against Black Order. Like, how do you feel about the Black Order matchup against Avengers?
Uh, I wish it wasn't on a D secure. I feel a little bit better. But
Hmm.
I've got my tech. I've got Loki with the mind gem, and he is.
Sick.
I have yet to lose to Black Order at 16 threat when I've got Loki on the board. And
Nice.
now that I've said it, I'm probably going to do it. Like
Now you're
I'll
probably gonna
still
lose
lose the
now.
next game I do it.
Yep. Definitely.
But Loki's a fantastic counterpiece into that team from what I have experienced at least.
Definitely. It feels like that tax goes a long way. That plus one tax on
Uh,
superpowers, because it turns off
mhm.
husband and wife turn one. Well, at least with no, well, yeah, because if you put Loki within range four of either of them, right, it costs two.
Yeah,
So,
it suddenly costs two.
mhm.
So unless they've got some power from somewhere else, but even then, it's making them spend two powers. So
Right.
Corvus isn't a fan of that, and it turns off a lot of Thanos's shenanigans.
Hmm.
Makes all of his gems start to cost. Makes his cosmic portal cost three,
Hmm.
which puts him into a little bit more of a tight situation.
Definitely. No, that's awesome, and I'm glad to see Loki come back because he was always one of those characters that, I mean, he took. I mean, it looks like the meta shifts, it changes throughout, the
Hmm.
releases and everything that comes out. Loki just got put on the back burner, right? It was just like, yeah, he's good, but there was there were other fours to take, right? It's not that Loki was. It was just there was other fours. Now I feel like with the way the meta or whatever we want to call it is going, people are starting to go back and look and say, okay, look, what else can I do to stop this? Because everybody was Black Order, Black Order, Black Order, right? Avengers, they're gonna dominate everything, blah blah blah. And the next thing you know, here comes the trickster.
Yeah, I mean,
you
no,
know?
it's cool, and like the other kind of crazy thing that somebody else pointed out to me that I didn't even really realize is like I think seven-ish of my characters are all from like the first three waves of the game. Because you've
Yeah.
got like Steve Cap, you got Iron Man, Black Panther, Vision, Hulk, Loki. So I guess that's just six,
Hmm.
uh, but still, like just a majority of these characters were really early ones. Now, granted, a couple of them, Hulk and Steve, got some significant tune-ups
Yeah,
to make
absolutely.
them relevant against stuff. But it's
Right.
just it's cool to me to be able to be like, oh yeah, like these are some of the first characters
Hmm.
from the game's release, and they're still super relevant.
Definitely, yeah, and they're working. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's making sense. I'm seeing other people take Loki as well. I'm seeing Guardian. I think I saw Guardians list this season take Loki, and it was the same thing right against Black Order, and it was working really well. I think they ended up losing a game, unfortunately. There was some unfortunate die roll or whatever the case may be. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, that's good to see. That's cool to see. Like I love seeing stuff like that. That people are just now we're at a point in the game where there's just so much out there, and you're like, okay, what can I? Let me go back. Let me look at these other characters. What can this character do? What can that character do? And it's always good to see that. Like I love that. That's
Hmm.
and that's a really good um thing to say about this game because I mean I talk about it. I mean I don't know if you listen to the Last Danger Room podcast, but I do talk about this game being balanced. I
Hmm.
know it has its crazy shenanigans, but for a game that has it, it doesn't feel like it's as oppressive as it would be in other game systems, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Um,
no, like
yeah.
there are games where so like somebody and on like the Facebook welcome page, I
Hmm.
think put it really nicely where it's like underbalanced in Marvel Crisis Protocol is still playable and still winnable as opposed to something like Games Workshop where an underbalanced faction is just complete like just you cannot
Right.
uh even really function where like yeah Wolverine's not the most like tuned fourth threat out there
Hmm.
but like if his dice turn hot there are a few characters that can hit as hard as he can
Yeah,
kind of a
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think that's just? Do you think it's? Because I'm trying to figure like these guys are really good at making this game, right? They're doing a really good job. Do you
Yeah.
think this is just by design, or do you think this is by like just a perfect mixture of things that they've come up? I hate to say accident, right? But what do you think? I mean,
uh i I when things fall this well into how they lay and stuff, I
mhm,
don't think you can call it an accident. I
right?
think I think it is by design, but at the same time, that's not to say that things are without fault.
Oh, sure.
They
Yeah.
had the 1.5 update where some characters got drastically changed. Hulk got a Hulk-sized upgrade, if you will,
Yeah.
where other characters got hit by the Nerf bat pretty significantly.
Yes.
Also banned and restricted list is there with a few banned cards now. So like
Right.
obviously there have been some mistakes.
Yeah.
I think they're all very forgivable mistakes, and the game is healthier because the developers are like, hey, we look at it, we see it, we understand it, we're going to
Mm.
make some changes. And so I think it's a combination of some great playtesters, some great designers, and a willingness on all of their parts to kind of be like, yeah, cool, let's get that fixed. And so to a degree, it comes back around to this awesome community that's communicating with one another,
Mm-hmm.
communicating with the developers, and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely, and it also helps that you know there's someone in the Discord that works at AMG. I don't want to put their
Yeah,
put their
no,
name out there.
they are very active in the community, both with their own streams, but also just are in some of the discords on the Facebook groups and stuff, and
Mhm.
are paying attention. I think.
Yeah, definitely, and it's awesome, and I love their timing on things too. I mean, because my biggest issue with games or gaming in general, is I think there's too many patches sometimes, right? I think
Hmm.
they're too proactive on certain things, and I understand like being a developer is different from being a player, right? I'm playing this game. I have a different mindset when I play a game, and I understand it. A developer just develops it. They just sit there. Okay, I think this is cool. Okay, whatever. They put it out there, and you're gonna get someone who's probably smarter than you, right, or just better at the game than you, and then they're gonna grab it and then they're gonna do whatever they want with it, and do some nasty things. Um, and that's cool. And I don't think a direct patch like that next minute to fix something that player figured out is the answer. I think you need to let it go play out for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like maybe give it maybe 3 or 4 months, right? Granted, if something completely breaks the game that it like my the greatest example that I have is Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo. Um, Akuma is a broken character. Like he breaks all the rules in that game. He breaks every single rule, right? He just does things that none of the other characters can do, and he's banned for a reason, and that makes total sense.
Hmm.
Um, but if it's something like Ryu's crouching medium is just does too much damage, or it the range on it's too far, and then 2 minutes later because someone said that you just go out and do a patch and then you make Ryu worse, right? You just do
Hmm.
something, and it just it's too much, right? And I like the approach that AMG has taken so far with the band restricted. It's not like, okay, all you got came out in September or summer of 2020. I don't remember when that card came out.
It was whenever Miles
Whenever
released, which
Miles
was
released, he was
it was
later.
either August or September of
Yeah,
2020.
there
Yeah.
you go. It was one of those months, and of course, hey, the card is awesome. It was great, but that card didn't get banned until what, November of last year.
Yeah, no, and like part of that is it took a while for the community to figure out how good that card was.
Right. It took a second. You know what I mean? Everybody was like, no. I mean, yeah, it's good. And, we all went back and forth, and so did I. I was like, I was like, you can put it to limited, and it's fine. Once they put it to limited, and, that's when I was like, this card is.
And then Bitter Rivals came
The Bitter
out, and
Rivals
it's like,
came out.
yeah.
Yeah. We're like, no, this has to go. Like, this card should not be made ever again. But I like the timing of it, though. It gave it time to shine, right? And it
Mhm.
gave us time to, like, understand why we need to get ban this card rather than, hey, it's not limited. Granted, there's some cards out there that are, Drop Off's one of them, right? Um, Another one is Hard Muscle. I mean, that card was
Mhm.
an instant ban. I mean, that card, the minute that card came out, they should have probably hit the ban list. But again, they gave us some time to play it. And once we did, what was it, like 3 or 4 months, and then it got banned or
Yeah,
something like that? Yeah.
once the tech was discovered, it took about another 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. And
So Kingpin came out as around the same time as Miles got banned.
oh, yeah.
Got banned around I think 4 or 5 months after Kingpin came out, because again, it took a little bit of
It took a
time
little
for
bit
it
of
kind of be
time.
like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what we can do with this, and then it's like, oh, well, that's disgusting.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, no, kudos to them, man. They're doing a really good job, man. I love this. By the way, are you keeping up with the TTS with the Top Cut and everything, or
Uh, from afar, yes.
going forward? Can I get? I want to get your thoughts on the, if you have any, right? I mean, I don't know how much you've been watching. Like, where do you think? Because we had a crazy top 32, right? I mean, give me your overall thoughts of what's going on with this TTS season right here.
I'm again from somebody who is paid attention from afar and through other people's commentary on it. Basically,
Right.
uh, it seemed that we had there was definitely a higher population of Guardians and Brotherhood players,
Mm-hmm.
just like as far as the proportions go. But across the whole, the probably the most surprising thing were some of the people that didn't make top cut. Like
Yeah.
you got significant games names like Pat, who has won many a TTS and non TTS championships for NCP.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, who is your co-host over on Danger
Yep.
Room,
Mm-hmm.
who like is definitely a really good player and stuff. So seeing some of those people not make top cut, I think is its own kind of commentary of how much one this game is growing and
Mm-hmm.
how cool it is to see people like Twitty, who I had met at an IRL event, and
Nice.
this is and he won that. He's a great player, and he's like, yeah, I'll try this TTS thing out, and then like suddenly out of nowhere, this guy makes top cut playing literally only X-Men in his roster.
Isn't that
So I think
crazy?
it's a fantastic commentary to the game for that. So that was I guess the first thing that stood out from that.
Mm.
Uh, from there, I don't know if there's anything that stood out significantly. There have
Okay.
been some great games. If nothing else, really, it's probably the rise of Thanos.
Yeah.
Is kind of the story of this top cut.
Right. And do you think that? And then about Thanos, do you think the change to the gems like put him in this position that he's in now?
Absolutely. Black
Okay.
Order used to not be this splashable. It used to be a full, basically a roster of like, hey, you take Thanos, Proxima, Corvus, and 3 gems, so you've got 4 spots left.
Right.
Maybe you splash Wakanda, or maybe you just splash tech pieces like Nebula or something like that. Because really, like for Corvus, this was purely a buff because there's never a time you're not taking Corvus without the reality gem at this
Right.
point.
Right.
And Thanos is just kind of like, okay, cool. Like, I can lock in a Thanos build, and worst case scenario, if I'm not playing Black Order, you've got these other 7 slots to build a perfectly fine roster with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I see it too. And I think I mean, I remember when that character first came out, and I thought his leadership was underwhelming. I was one of those. I'm not gonna lie to you. I
Mhm.
looked at it, I was like, he's strong. I mean, he's okay, but I'm like, you know, just another. But again, the game was different back then, right? The game was, the gems took up roster slots, and
Mhm.
you really had to make decisions about how to fill out the rest of your roster, how many gems you're gonna take, and all that stuff. Now we're seeing like how powerful Thanos really is when he's just an eighth threat character, because that's what he is. I mean, I
Mhm.
know some people take 1 gem with him. I've never seen anyone take no gems. I don't think that makes sense. I think he's tied to gems no matter what.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, he's an eighth threat character, and he plays like it. I mean, he is terrifying, right? Now, granted, there's ways to beat him and all that stuff if you plan accordingly. I think if you go a little wider, instead of going
Mhm.
as narrow. If you're going as narrow as Black Order, you better have a better plan than they do. Is my thought process. If
Yeah,
you if you yeah
it's tough to go 3v3 and beat Black Order under
yeah,
attrition like that.
you're not gonna do it. So you gotta go wider and you gotta figure it out from there. Um, But yeah, the Rise of Thanos has been insane. I mean, he was in my roster, right, in Top Cut. Now, granted, I never used him. He wasn't in my roster
Mhm.
throughout the entire TTS. I threw him in at the end just because I was like, okay, I think I have a game where I'm gonna play him, and if I do, I do. If I don't, okay, I have other rosters and I can mess with it. I can just figure it out from there. Um, but yeah, I mean, are you also? I mean, was it surprising to you to not see as many Brotherhood and Avengers teams and Criminal Syndicate as well? That's another team that a lot of people talked about um, making it.
Probably a little bit. But at the same time, it's one of those where like I understand that people are always attracted to whatever the new shiny is,
Yeah.
to some extent, and so like Guardians got some significant buffs, and so a lot of people pick up Guardians. Like makes sense. Like Gamora's better, Star Lord's better,
Hmm.
Ghost Rider now plays really really well on the Guardians
He really
team.
does. Yeah.
Brotherhood got some of the best new pieces with Rogue and Juggernaut, and just completely redefined, kind of like what Brotherhood is. You can probably talk to that more than I can. Is
Oh, sure.
you've been playing the crap out of them
Yeah, a
more than I
lot.
have
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
Uh, so there's always the attraction to new shiny. For me, I rocked Avengers, but like without Sam, and Sam is kind of the iteration of Avengers that I think was dominated the season 6 league, from what I understand. Again,
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
play, so
Hmm.
watching from afar.
Hmm.
But it was cool to even just see like X Men
Yeah.
make it to Top Cut. So there were surprises both of like, man, I kind of expected more of this one team to make it in, but there was also like, I did not expect X Men to make Top Cut, and there were a couple of them.
Me either. Me either. And I mean, of course, and there's been a lot of talk about the X Men. People have their opinions. I'm of the opinion as well that I think they're just a bit under the curve. I don't think they're bad. I just think they're just under the curve by a bit. But I
Mhm.
still think they have pieces and they have, um, you know, gameplay strategy that they can do to help them win, right? Like you're starting to see the Corvus Proxima splash. You saw it with Omnis and
Mhm.
doing the whole extract thing that he does with the jump and all that stuff, which is really really cool. Um, but the thing is like once X-23 and like Honey Badger came out, um, at least for me, when I look at the X Men now, they've turned into a wide team, like a wide scoring slash maybe some attrition team going
Oh yeah, no, I
forward,
mean like
right?
you look at it and you're like, cool, X Men now have a two threat in affiliation.
Yeah.
They've got two of the top five, in my opinion, three threat characters with
Mm-hmm.
Domino and X-23.
Agreed.
They also just got Rogue, who again is a baller of a piece,
Baller.
who's
Yeah.
probably a little bit over the curve.
Mm-hmm.
So like they've got some all stars in there. Storm's leadership's pretty good. Storm herself, little bit fragile.
Yeah.
So you got to play carefully with her piece, both because like it's physically fragile and whatnot, but also she doesn't like getting punched very much. So yeah, no, I think X Men have legs, and
Mm-hmm.
with as competitive as just the TTS has gotten, and as wide as it's gotten,
Mm-hmm.
to have people end up there with either pure X Men or mostly X Men, speaks to that. Like, yeah, X Men are a real deal now.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. 100%. And if AMG can give him a little bit of help, that'd be cool. I'm just asking for a little bit. Make Storm.
Just like, what more do they need? They've got some great tactic cards that
I
make them the best at flip secures out of anybody else, which are
agreed.
meta choice because of CS.
Mm-hmm.
They've got top tier pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else they need at this point.
Yeah,
That
the only thing that I knocked them for is and this try. I wish they had an innate, like a mutant innate. You know what I mean? Like how Asgard has, Asgardians, they get the extra power, and humans have
Mhm.
whatever it's called for their reroll. I don't even remember anymore. It's that.
It's just called Inhumans. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's where I think they missed the ball. But then again, I mean, I don't know what you would give them for an innate either. I've been scrambling and thinking, what would I do? But I think they just need an innate, and I think
Yeah, I think
Storm.
would be really tough to give them an innate because, like, if
Yeah.
you look at Asgard and you look at Inhumans,
Mm-hmm.
those are some pretty limited rosters.
Yeah, agreed. 100%.
But like, if you're like, okay, here's the mutant keyword, like, that's all of the X-Men characters that have to be balanced around that,
Right.
and most of the Brotherhood characters that have to be balanced around that.
Exactly. That's the problem. And it's all like I can't really do that. I mean, Wolverine needs a bit of. I think he needs a little bit of help. I think
Yeah.
his charge needs to be 2. Don't know why it's a 3 call. I think I know why. I think in testing, I think that fastball. I think they were testing that fastball special a lot, and they're like, oh, I think this charge is too good at 2, and so they put it at 3, kind of deal. That's what I think happened. That's just my headcanon. Um, but
Yeah, I mean, because the only other character that has a fancy charge is Thor, right?
yeah, exactly. And
And his cost 3 as well.
his
So
cost 3, and I think his should come down to a 2 because he's a 5 threat. But like, there's things like stuff like that. I think not much. It really, and that's the thing about this game too, is like every change that I talk about with every character in this game, it's literally like a sentence or like one thing. And I'm like,
mhm.
I think that puts him like look what happened to Bullseye. All that happened to Bullseye was I make him a 2 threat and I lowered his health, but he's one of the best characters in the game right now. 2 threats in the game right now. That's
Yeah,
all they did. They did nothing else. Like from what I can remember. So that's how close I think they are with most of these characters. Like just do a little thing here or there.
yeah.
You
The
know?
smallest change that I didn't think was going to be enough, but it like has turned out to absolutely be enough, is they just reduced the power cost on Iron Man's Friday AI by 1.
Yeah, by one.
Literally the only change. Granted, also Ricochet Blast got a
Oh
little bit
God.
cheaper and it's a lot easier to play.
Right.
But like, prior to that singular change, Iron Man did not see the table.
Yep.
But now, like, yeah, if you're running Avengers, like, Iron Man's in it. Whether you're running Steve or whether you're running Sam, like,
Yep.
Iron Man's probably in your 10.
Iron Man's in your 10 now. That's all he did. And that's boom. Solid. Nothing else needed to change. And that's what I love about it. It's just do a little minor thing and they'll be fine. But yeah, no, that's interesting, man. That's good to hear. I know you did a video back in the day, man. I don't remember. I think you did a wonderful job eloquating this, and I need some help with this too because I ran into an issue, not an issue. I ran into a question a week ago on Facebook about an event that I'm running or trying to run at a bar or at a gamers bar kind of thing down the street from
Sweet.
here. So I'm trying to move the tournament scene to there, right, and just
Hmm.
have a good time. My plan at the end of it, because right now I'm not gonna do that TTS thing. Sorry, I'll talk about that in another video, but I'm not gonna be doing that. I want to save that for sometime next year, when I can plan out a little bit more and I can understand how this gamers bar works. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, how many people can I get here and do an event for the community next year? That's my plan. So I'm gonna scrap that and focus more on that. Um, but yeah, you did a video on casual versus competitive, right?
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's a good
that
year plus ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. And the only reason why I bring this up, I mean, I feel like more. I've been in almost every group when it comes to miniature gaming, outside of a few. I don't, in all those groups or anything, I don't see the conversation about the casual competitive thing. And I think you know what I'm
Hmm.
talking about with people saying, "Oh my god, I don't want this game to be competitive," blah blah blah, and and it's fine. That's perfectly fine. I understand it. I get it. Um, but people need to understand like this game competitively is amazing. Um, and from the people that I've interacted with or played with in this game, they don't go to stores and like stomp on people or anything like that with like competitive lists. Yeah, have I gone to a tournament like let's say from 30 minutes away from here, a city called West Bend? Yeah, did I go to a tournament there and I played the roster that I was playing in TTS? Yeah, and I won the tournament and whatever. But I took that as, if it's a tournament, I'm there. I'm going there to win.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Um, so with that being said, like I guess, like how do you approach it with the whole casual competitive thing in your area, or what's your mindset on it? Like what? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is it's just one of those things where communication is king when you're trying to make sure everybody's having a good time, kind of a deal. And it also kind of comes down to this mysterious document that has never actually been written out called the social contract. And the weird thing is the social contract changes depending on the venue. So if you are going to a tournament or an event where there's prize support and like there's a reason for somebody to want to take first place, people are going to try to take first place. It's going to be a casual, or not a casual, but a competitive environment where people like, yeah, you play to win.
Right.
But then at like just kind of the local game night,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I learned this heavily from Magic the Gathering and EDH, the Commander format, which is by nature in some ways a more casual format. But basically, there was always a discussion beforehand because it's four people. You're like, hey, what's the power level we're looking to play?
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to make sure, like, if just one person is out here playing a 10 and everybody else is playing like a 6, like, it's just not going to be a fun game for the three sixes at the table because that 10 player is going to be like, oh, yeah, and on turn 3 or 4, I win the game through this infinite combo. And it's like, oh, well, like, I usually try to win on like turn 12 by attacking with a bunch of people or doing some other crazy stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I think when it comes to local game nights, local scenes, and stuff like that, it's just really important to kind of set the tone of, hey, like this is we're gonna play. What kind of a game are you looking for? Are you looking to like are you looking for a narrative kind of thing? Are you here and you're going to play only X-Men because like you grew up on the 90s and you love that cartoon, or you love that comic run and like this is your jam, so you're going to run Cyclops and Wolverine and like we're just going that way? Are you trying to play something, like are you like learning the game, just really just having conversations
Right.
about what your opponent's expecting and stuff. And so there have been times where like my opponent's like, cool, like bring the heat, and I'm like, all right, cool, like I'm gonna bring the heat, and I end up bringing the heat, and but over the course of the game
Mm-hmm.
or after the game, you have the conversations of like, hey, so like you were looking to play competitively. Let's look at back at some of these like key moments
Mm-hmm.
and have conversations there, so that a loss can still be a learning experience, which
Absolutely.
is
Yeah.
yeah, which is what didn't happen for me a lot of the time
Mm-hmm.
with the War Machine and Hordes.
Mm-hmm.
Was sometimes I would just like kind of, because one of the things is like if your leader character got killed, it's game over. It ends right there.
Mm-hmm.
And there were just so many times that like kind of to me out of the blue, the assassination happened, and I was just kind of like, oh, like I was doing really well on this other part of the game, but like I left them, I guess, two out in the open, and I to their credit, I didn't take enough time to try to learn that, but they also were not like, hey, like this is how you prevent this, or
Right.
like lining up like, hey, if you leave your character here, I this character does this. Like, so being able to just explain like, hey, like I see you're measuring like even last night somebody was measuring pumpkin bombs
Mm-hmm.
into Daredevil, and I'm like, hey, just a heads up, Daredevil's got stealth.
Ha.
So like
Yeah.
make sure you're trying to measure range 3 and not range 4 before you move, kind of a deal.
Right.
Uh, so just communication and knowing how to tone yourself back if you are a more competitive player going into a casual environment,
Mm-hmm.
and also if you're a more casual player going into maybe a competitive environment like a tournament and stuff, realize that like yeah, people are going to play. So there's just kind of an understanding that needs to happen, and I think for the most part, this community has been really good about that, more so than others. I haven't seen a lot of complaints. There's a lot less of the complaining that I've seen, at least across the different social medias
Yeah.
of like, oh no, competitive players ruin a game, or oh these casual weebs or whatever. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's just less of that talk, which is
Mm-hmm.
awesome to see. That either hopefully there are people that are realizing that you can coexist. You can be what I define as a Patrick, a person who can sit down at the table and play just like absolute janky uh, stuff that like has no right to be on a table, but there it is.
Yeah.
But can also crank it up to a 10 and try to cut your throat out super quick. So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So granted, and not everybody has to be a Patrick, but you have to recognize at least that like there are merits to both sides of this game for sure.
Definitely, yeah, and I definitely want the people to, not be afraid to come out and play casually, or come out. I don't want them to be afraid to come to a tournament, and if this is their third game in and they're coming out to a tournament, I don't want them to. Well, one, I want them to. Hey, this is a tournament, okay? I can't tell people what not to play, what not to bring. I can't tell this person, hey, don't show up because it's not that. When I label tournament, it's tournament. I mean, it's you're here to win, you're here to play, pull out your best stuff, whatever. If you're here to play casually, that's fine. But at the end of it, don't feel discouraged or like feel like this player is oppressive with their list because they came here with
Hmm.
a different mind. They came here to win.
Yeah,
What I'm just hoping
but
that go ahead.
yeah, no, and I think the key there is in what AMG is promoting and
Hmm.
why they are, I think, so on top of the casual like train for this game is the competitive scene is going to take care of itself.
Right.
But they are still providing us avenues and events for casual game nights where you still get everybody together
Yep.
for like separation anxiety or for the Magneto Ultimate Encounter and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But that is still a ton of fun. And there's
Absolutely.
also more and more people I'm seeing out there, and I'm really excited to see it, are organizing 3 box events,
Yeah.
which like aren't really tournaments, but the like it's a format that's intended to be casual. It's intended to be like a list building challenge for veterans, but also super welcoming to new players.
Hmm.
And it meets this and usually a really nice medium between the two, and people are able to come out and just kind of have fun with it when it's not like this like okay cool, I'm not gonna whip out my crazy Black Order shenanigans with Thanos moving 3 of your people turn one.
Hmm.
It's going to be a little bit more of a straight up MCP game,
Hmm.
and it's cool to see the community promoting that itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, that started on TTS, by the way, which is a great avenue to play this game. If you're not doing TTS, I don't know what to tell you, but it's awesome. No, that's great. I mean, I think I'm gonna start doing that myself here. Once everything gets settled here with the location and everything, I definitely want to start doing 3 box events. And yeah, the only reason why this came up is I had a player who asked me a question. It was like, "Is this is it be casual or hyper competitive?" I went, one, I've never heard the words hyper competitive put together in one thing ever. So I was just trying to put two and two together. And as we kept talking it through, I was explaining it to him. I was like, dude, it's a tournament. I don't know what to tell you. Um,
Yeah, no,
um,
that's one of those. I think it's a. I've definitely heard hyper competitive
have you?
used, and
Okay.
it just yeah, it's somebody who's just basically is fearing the worst of competitive. I because like really like there's you can be casually competitive and there's
Yeah.
like the hyper competitive and then you've got like the win at all cost thing and there to the people who are not used to I guess to playing more competitively there's different tiers of
Yeah.
competitiveness and stuff.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
so so
Yeah.
I kind of get where they're coming from. When you're going to an event, a tournament specifically, expect it to be competitive.
Yeah.
You don't have to necessarily. It doesn't need to be a casually competitive event. It doesn't have to be a hyper. It's just competitive. People are going to go there and play to win. So
Exactly. Exactly. That's just how I take it. It was just like, okay, it is what it is. But no, I'm glad to get your input on that. And then speaking on that, so you also a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, I don't remember. Maybe it was two. Who knows? You put out the tournament packet, right? I believe.
I was
Or
one
part
of
of.
I was part of that. I was
Ah.
on the tail end of it. I want to be perfectly clear. There were other people working on that well
Okay.
before me that have put together a fantastic document. I will say I did get to add stuff. I wasn't just like this guy who gets to throw his name on at the end or something. But yeah, really, really cool resource for the community as a whole. But go ahead and you talk about it a little bit, and I'm happy to answer
Actually, can I
questions.
be honest with you?
Yeah, go
I,
for it.
I haven't read the tournament pack. I saw it placed out there, right? And here's what's funny about it. It went to the Facebook main Marvel group, right? And
Hmm.
the best thing about that was that Pagani and Kemp commented
Hmm.
on the thread, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. That's actually that's interesting, right? So I'm just waiting to hear what their thoughts are, and I do. They mentioned something about chess clocks
Hmm.
inside there. I don't know. Is it included in that tournament packet or not?
There are, and so to be clear, I guess first off, for
Yeah.
anybody who does not know what we're talking about, me along with, oh my goodness, how many other people? Uh, I think like 6 or 7 other people. And I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
be so terrible. I'm gonna look it up.
It's all good.
One, two, three, six, seven. 7 other people
Okay.
have put together a rather lengthy
Mm-hmm.
Word document that is basically a guidelines of how to run a Marvel Crisis Protocol event. This is both one so that if somebody is looking to hold an event and just kind of wants to copy paste a lot of information on how they want their event to run, it is there for that. But the other reason it is there, and what I really like about it, is it's hopefully going to kind of standardize what people can expect to find at a Marvel Crisis Protocol tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that is here at like NashCon, whether you're going to LVO, a lot of the things are going to be the same. There's going to be a lot of overlap.
Mm-hmm.
But there also are some options, and the one that you were kind of mentioning is how you run your games. And so we
Mm-hmm.
both have an option for a round timer style, which is kind of the like, hey, there's going to be an hour, 45 minutes
Okay.
for this game to be played out in, and have additional things like, hey, this is when this will happen, this is when this will happen. But there's also rules for chess clocks. So if you wanted to have chess clocks, is how you're keeping track of the rounds and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yes, chess clocks are a part of it,
Perfect.
but that's one of those things that's optional because not everybody, unfortunately, has access to the chess clocks or necessarily even wants the chess clocks.
Right.
I definitely understand that they can be intimidating to a newer scene. That's just one of those things that's not fully necessary if you've got a lot of newer players coming into an event, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But chess clocks at the same time can be helpful for especially some of the higher tier events. So I'm expecting like the Las Vegas Invitational to, at the very least, have chess clocks, even if the Las Vegas Open part of Marvel Crisis Protocol might not, for example.
Definitely. Yeah, and the chess clock thing, that's the one thing I wanted to highlight the most because I just recently I ran a tournament this weekend, this Saturday.
Mm.
And I, for the first time out of my 6 events or so, this is the first time I ran chess clocks. And I just wanted to get people to understand, like, I've been to a couple of events so far. I've used the chess clocks. I think it's really good. I think it helps move gameplay. Um, it's not a negative. It's not trying to whatever. What I do love about it is that it does present accountability. One thing I can't stand,
Hmm.
especially at all the events that I ran, there were people, and I'm not going to call people out, but there were some players that were really trying to take up the time, and I wasn't a fan of that at all. And I said, we can't have that. I want games to run smoothly, and I want them to run on time. And I don't have all day to sit there and wait for things. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's a Saturday. I run this at noon. You know what I mean? Let's get this done, right? And just go on about our day. Um, so what I ended up doing though was to introduce chess clocks to the tournament because I didn't want people to say, "Hey, you have to do this." I left it up to the players, right? And I straight up
Hmm.
told them, and I listed out my reasons as to why. And after I listed out my reasons, I showed how to use it. Because of course we did have I think he was maybe 16, maybe 15, 16 years old. He was young, right? He's never used a chess clock. So I made sure, hey, this is how you use it. If you have any questions, just ask me. I'm gonna be walking around. I'm not playing today, so I can help out with the clock and all that stuff if you need it. So after I talked about it, whatever, and I told him, I said, listen, if you guys accept the chess clocks today, I'll put in an extra $40 into the pot. Like right now, I'll throw in $40, and the winner will get the $40, right? And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. I know this is a bribe, right? But I really want you guys to try this and get used to it because I think this is going to be the standard going forward, right?
Hmm.
And I think this is at any tournament you go to. I mean, I went to Illinois, they had clocks. I went to Las Vegas, they had clocks. If they're looking to play anywhere else, they're probably going to have them. So why not get used to it now and just have fun with it, right? I even showed him. I'm like, I think of myself playing chess in one of those chess movies as I'm playing this game, right? I'm like hitting the clock. It could be fun. Um, I'm really happy to see this, and at least it's a guideline, right? It's something because right now with AMG, they're not looking to. I don't think they have any plans to do this. I don't think they will ever create a tournament bracket. I just found it interesting that Schick and Dallas jumped in. Not Schick, I'm sorry. Oh my God, Pagani.
It was Pagani. Yeah.
Pagani, I'm sorry, Pagani and Dallas. I thought that was interesting that they went and jumped in and put in their input because that I don't know if that leads me to believe that they're maybe talking about something like this going out there for the competitive scene, or you know what I mean? I don't know if you got that impression of it. I don't know what your impression of it with them commenting because I was
Yeah.
surprised. Yeah.
So, I think Dallas was there for mostly kicks and giggles.
Yeah, he
'Cause he's
was.
out there, saying like, yeah, let's bring in karaoke and all this other shenanigans. I don't know about that. It sounds
It
hilarious
sounds
and
hilarious.
fun, and
Right.
I bet if I get to do a tournament with Pagani and Dallas
Oh
and
man.
there's karaoke, I'll probably never want to look back. But Pagani was just saying that he doesn't think chess clocks necessarily are a great fit for MCP because there's a lot of shared time between the reactive abilities and stuff like that. So there's a little bit discussion
Right.
going on there both ways. But that's basically all it was. I don't think it's any sign of them wanting
No.
to come out with their own packet or
Okay.
anything to that degree. But it was really cool to see them acknowledge and just kind of discuss and be like, hey, like we see this. This is what we like. This is my opinion on it.
Right.
And it's always cool to get a developer's opinion because like they probably have at least an idea of what they're talking about.
Yeah,
I dare
absolutely.
say.
Yeah, absolutely. You would think, right? I mean, no, but I thought that was really cool, and of course, it got taken down right away. Right, that lasted like 5 minutes, I think, and it got taken down, and now it's on. And I'm looking at the rules right now. This is basically all that I. Yeah, I mean, I like everything that I've seen here so far. It makes sense. I'm glad we have some sort of guidelines, going forward. This
Mhm.
is awesome. I'm glad somebody took the time to write this out. This is good. This is something people can follow. It's easy to read. Um, and I'm a fan of it. I mean, you know what I mean? People are going out and playing again. And honestly, this game at the highest level, I'm telling you guys, like, do yourself a favor and watch the TTS finals, any TTS finals, right? Um, and just see how hyped this game is at a high level. Like when you're seeing these players, just every little movement and decision making, especially like going past. I don't know about you, but like to me, turn two is the longest turn of the game, and then turn 3 and 4 is where like the clutch plays got to get made. I don't know if that's how you approach your games when you're playing, at that level, but
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like turn two is okay, all the craziness is gonna happen. Turn 3 and 4, here's where the hype and the here's where the top level plays are gonna happen.
Yep. Turn one is the setup. Turn two, no plan survives first contact, and then 3 and 4 is just kind of what you can make of whatever you can.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. No, that's awesome. So then speaking of competitive, probably make this actually no, make this the second to last topic. There's one more thing we'll get to at the end. It'll be fun. Um,
Yep.
so let's talk about NashCon. That's coming out in August. Not coming out. It's August, towards
It's
the end,
happening
right?
in
It's
August. Yeah.
happening in August. There you go. That's the words I'm looking for. It's happening in August. That was really fun to watch. Last year on stream, I was here. Unfortunately, I won't be there. Timing, and I missed out on tickets, and that's on me. I thought I had time, but I didn't. But yeah, talk about NashCon, man.
Yeah, so NashCon is this is the second MCP NashCon event. Me and Grant, or many know him as Gronko, put this on last year. Had a hard time running it because it was like right as we were coming out of COVID. So at first it was
Mhm.
like, cool, you're gonna get like we're gonna have 40 seats for you. Oh, now like all of our capacity is cut in half because of COVID, so we've only got 20 seats for you. But then we sold those 20 seats super quick, so we'll have 30 like 4 seats for you. And so there was that weirdness.
Mhm.
But last year went really well. Got a lot of good feedback. Thankfully, glad people enjoyed it.
Nice.
And so we're doing it again. Basically, they've doubled our space, and then because we are one of the two events that sold out, they gave us 20 more spots. So we've got 84 uh, spots, I guess, for it. We've got Friday will be a narrative event where I've got a couple of custom crisis made, and we're gonna have people play a little bit more narratively. Where, like, if you're playing with a good guy affiliation, you're not going to be able to splash in your Baron Zemos or Crossbones or Hood or any of those kind of characters. So it'll be a little bit more narrative focused. Then Saturday we'll have kind of a more traditional tournament. It'll be 4 rounds, and then we'll take a top cut from that, and then I guess it'll. Some of these numbers might change because we've
Mhm.
gone from 64 to 84, which makes some of those numbers a little bit more awkward for making a clean top cut.
Yeah.
But we'll have a top cut the following day that's going to be a few rounds, probably 3 rounds.
Okay.
Let's see. That'll let be top 8. So who knows? We might try to squeeze in 5 rounds the other day, which will be miserable to some. But we did 6 last year, so we can
Yeah.
do it. It can be done.
It can be done. It can happen. Absolutely.
Uh, so we've got some numbers to mess with there, obviously. But then for those who don't make it into the top cut, we'll be doing a 3 box challenge with my own little fancy Gamer Guild kit that I made that has 3 extra secures and 3 extra extracts that you can add to a 3 box challenge. Because I think the one thing that kind of the downside of the 3 box challenge is the lack of threat level diversity and crisis diversity,
Mhm.
because everybody gets the core set ones, but then like maybe you get one extra crisis out of the packs you
Right.
choose. So just having an extra 3 secures and 3 extracts that are a little custom and a little bit of fun just adds a little bit of spice into it.
Okay. Awesome. Oh, that sounds like a blast, man. I hopefully, somebody sells me their ticket, or you never know, somebody might not somebody might their doors might be locked, and all of a sudden, hey, Chewy has his ticket. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he just shows up. So hey, we'll see what happens. It sounds like a whole bunch of fun, man. And so are you? So okay, are you in more? Because I noticed that the top cut is so top cut single limb, right? Or is it
Top cut will be a single elimination, yeah.
okay? Are you?
Once we get to that point.
Do you think? 'Cause I know this has been talked about, not a lot, but I know some people have mentioned this in the past. Like, are you more in favor of that format? Like, okay, run Swiss, determine who's top 8, top 16, and then the next day go do your top 8, top 16, or are you like where do you stand on that? Like Swiss versus what's going on here? Like,
Like doing Swiss all the way through
right?
versus Swiss part of the way and then a top cut for day two kind
Correct.
of a deal.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I have not given it too much thought.
Hmm.
Uh, MCP is the first miniatures game I've gotten deep with,
Okay.
to the point where like I've gone to an event for it, to the point where I have like been to a local game night or had local game nights let alone go to a big event like Adepticon or hosted one like NashCon was my first big miniatures event, and I didn't even
Wow.
play in it. Kind of a situation.
Okay.
So part of that is I have not put tons and tons of thought into it.
Sure.
A lot of it is just kind of by example of what I've seen out of other games like X-Wing and Legion.
Hmm.
Were are a couple of the ones that people in Tennessee are really big into, and that's the format that they followed.
Okay.
I know over in the UK, just playing through the Swiss straight through is the more popular way to kind of go through it and stuff.
Right.
Uh, so I'm not entirely opposed one way or the other.
Okay.
Personally, for me, it's kind of one of those, man. There's appeal of both sides of it. Being able to,
Hmm.
if you had a really rough day at the, like if it's a 4 round and you end up going like 1 in 3,
Hmm.
like it's nice to be able to start fresh the next day and be like, okay, cool, fresh slate. We're gonna go in here. We're gonna try something different
Right.
and just do something different instead of having to start from a 1 in 3 position and play 2 more games. Like that just doesn't sound super appealing.
It doesn't.
Uh,
Yeah.
kind of one of those things. But at the same time, Omnis, I know at the very least, has talked about like the opportunity of like, man, you have a really rough day one, but then it feels really good if you're able to claw your way back up to like an even 3 and 3 or
Hmm.
something like that. So there's both sides of it. At the end of the day, I hate for people to drop out of an event and then just
Yes.
not have something that they want to continue to go and do.
Hmm.
One, instead of just not having something, and just having the top cut, I wanted to have some sort of event, and I wanted to be able to give players a fresh start, and also just have it be something that's one of the other really awesome fan made formats that has come out of this game.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm more in favor of that too. The just going to single limb the next day. Like use the Swiss to determine who your top players are, and then whoever's the top there, go on play the next day. And just have a good time from there.
Mhm.
That's how. The other thing is too, like it's hard to determine like when you're watching an entire Swiss format is like, okay, is this top eight? When is top eight? Like who is in top eight? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Who's playing?
who
It
makes
just
that top eight when you, yeah.
yeah, it gets really confusing, and and I think it gives you more of an incentive to play if you're shooting for like a top cut, right? Like if you're just
Mhm.
playing
Like one
Swiss,
one loss is not the end of
it's not
the
the end of
road
the
for
world.
you.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world. Just keep playing, and stranger things have happened. Maybe you get there with two losses. Who knows? For some reason, it
Yeah,
just happens that way.
one of the crazy things with NashCon last year,
Hmm.
because we had a top to cut eight, uh, and we only had the 30 some odd people,
Yeah.
we had a couple of 3 and 2s make it into top cut, and Josh, who ended up winning it, or Mirzane for the people who know him on Discord and stuff, Merzane ended up winning it all as a 3 and 2 player, and then made it into the top cut. And the two people that beat him, he then beat in the top cut. Like it's just, and
That's
so it's just kind of stuff like that that's
right.
kind of really cool to let people. You don't have to have all perfect games
Right.
to be able to place really well, and
Right.
that's cool.
I like that, man. I like that approach for NashCon. But yeah, if you guys can make it out there, I believe it's August. And if I got this wrong, I'm sorry. 19th through the
19th through the 21st sounds
21st.
correct in my head, at least.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. For now, and if someone's gonna be like, "No, it's not the date." Well, we tried. All right, man. So the last thing, man. I know we've been kind of dry with releases, right? I mean, just a little bit of a dry spell here. The last thing that came out, what was in April?
Uh,
Was the Shield
yes.
in that? And we really haven't had any spoilers up until.
Well, yeah, because yeah, no, April was Shield and Daredevil.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah. So then we really haven't had any panel plays or anything like that since probably March, I think, right? Or February?
yeah. I think March, but yeah, it's certainly been a little bit more of a dry year because we had the big X wave come
Mm-hmm.
February.
Yep.
I think Hulkbuster was January.
Hulkbuster was January. Yep.
Yep. And that's one of those weird ones too, because the UK got those early, and then the UK
Yeah.
shipped it to a lot of places, and so it's like, when was it really even released? And
Was it? Yeah.
uh, so yeah, we've definitely hit kind of a bit of a more dry spell, and there's also, as you noted, it's kind of an information dry spell, which
Yeah.
is interesting because we used to just get like still flooded weekly spoilers and reveals and stuff,
Right.
even if we didn't get the models for another few months because of the COVID and shipping worldwide
More live.
mess and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah. So yeah, we're kind of in an interesting spot.
Interesting spot, man. So I gotta say, like, are you excited to see the Super Giant and Black Swan for Black Order?
You know what? I actually am. Black Swan
Okay.
is an awesome character from the comics,
Really?
who led
Okay.
into the Secret War stuff. Yeah, I actually, I did like, weirdly enough, like, of the members of the Black Order, I don't know Supergiant super well. Like, I know a lot of people hype her up too,
Mm-hmm.
but Black Swan was one of the characters that I actually kind of got to read about and stuff. So it's cool to see her. I'm excited for them. I'm really hoping that she might get to bring a second leadership to Black Order,
Yeah.
and just to completely revolutionize what Black Order looks like.
Absolutely. I want them to finally fill out that roster. I think it's been long enough that we sat here and waited. I think it's time to fill out that roster, and that way people can actually make a full Black Order list rather than, hey, I'm gonna splash Thanos. It's still gonna happen, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
it's you're probably gonna less likely see a Black Order player splash into whatever other roster. You're probably going to see a full roster of Black Order characters with splashes for their own kind of shenanigans that they have going on here too. Like I'm hoping a leadership comes with Black Swan, or if they give it to Supergiant, whatever, cool. Just give it to one of them, give them a second leadership, and just give them just more of a roster. You know what I mean? Like you look at them, they're just like, okay. It's granted, you're like, oh my god, what about Ebony Maw? What about Black Dwarf? Um,
Yeah, and Black Dwarf's good, just not with Thanos,
Not
kind
with
of thing.
Thanos. That's the issue. So he doesn't really work with Thanos. Maybe Black Dwarf will work with Black Swan. Maybe I don't know.
Fingers
So
crossed, knock on wood, all that
knock on
stuff.
wood, right? That's what I'm hoping for, and that's what's exciting about that release because we're gonna maybe see Black Order play similarly to how other rosters play, which is like, yeah, build a roster and like do something with it. Um, but yeah, I mean, is there for me like I don't know if you, I mean, you got the Adepticon cards, right? And
Yeah,
okay, so I know you're a big. I see the avatar. I see the picture here, man. I'm a big Age of Venom fan. And
absolutely. Hard to not be.
he's got to be coming out, right? I mean, at some point, hopefully this year.
He's on a tactic cart now. Like
He's
he's got to be coming at some point.
dude. I geeked out, man. I saw him on that tactic card for the Guardians, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, what if he's a leader for the Guardians, and he's just a
He won't be a
whole,
leader. He won't be a
you know,
leader. But even if it's just like, hey, here's Agent Venom and he's a web warrior and a guardian,
yeah.
I'm happy. Like,
I am a
yes, let's
happy
do it.
person too, dude. I'm like, oh my god, like this is gonna be so cool. Like that stuff, like it always excites me. And then obviously, I think Jane was on one of them. I think Dark Avengers was on
Oh, dude,
another.
heck yeah! Give me a new Cabal with
Oh my
Iron
god,
Patriot and Ares and Sentry. I'm rolling.
absolutely. And I know Shig has talked about making Sentry in one of his videos that I can
Mhm.
remember. But I think he's having a hard time balancing the whole Void thing that Sentry had or
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. So whenever that
yeah.
gets figured out, maybe that character will be out at that point. But like for future releases, I mean, take a guess, man. Like what do you want to
Oh
see most of the
man,
game outside of Agent Venom? Like what do you want to see from this
the
game?
other one, and at this point, it's kind of a copycat of everybody else because so much has been released. But I want to see Fantastic Four, and it's not even to see Fantastic Four.
Hmm.
I just want Doctor Doom, man.
Yeah, I'm a Doctor
That's
Doom
my other
mark.
big one.
Yeah, and just make him an Ultimate Encounter too. Do a Secret Wars and the Ultimate Encounter with it.
Dude, make him an ultimate encounter. Give him some
Uh,
Doombot grunts. Like I'm here for all of it.
I can't wait, dude. I guarantee you, his Doom bots are gonna be so ridiculous. Hey, you think you killed Doom? No, you killed a Doom bot. So the Doom the Doom bot
You
replaces
fool.
Doom. You fool! Exactly. Yeah. I can't wait, dude. That's if he works that way, like not the whole. I'm just gonna have a lot of fun, and I'm sorry for people that get bored of playing with me, but I'm gonna have Doctor Doom in every roster. I'm just gonna tell you right now. I don't care how good or bad he is. I just want to play Doctor Doom because he's a cool character. Like he's. I could already tell he's gonna be a 5 threat character. He's gonna have wonderful mystic defense. I guarantee you, he'll probably play well with Convocation, right? Not that he
Yeah,
will be affiliated.
probably be like, oh
Yeah,
man, he probably should be.
he
He's a
probably should
wizard. He
be.
knows that stuff.
He knows,
Then
yeah.
again, like so is Loki, so is
Soul's
Enchantress, and
Enchantress, and they're not.
Scarlet Witch, and
Right.
Grumble Mumble.
Exactly. Yeah. They're not in there. Okay, so Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom. Any like is there anything else that you're looking maybe that they want to throw out there? Or...
The other thing, and they might be waiting for Agent Venom for this release, is I'd love to see Red Hulk's
Ooh,
Thunderbolts.
hell yeah, dude.
Because
Now we're
we've already
talking.
got Punisher, we've got Elektra now, we've got
Yeah.
Deadpool, so we just need Red Hulk and we just need Agent Venom, and that's another full team that can be put out there.
Absolutely. I wonder if they. So thinking about Red Hulk and thinking about all the transformations that we've been seeing in this game, like with Hood and all that, I wonder if they have a
Hmm.
deal with Red Hulk, because Thunderbolt Ross is in full control of the Red Hulk. He's
Yeah.
does whatever he wants. I wonder if they have a situation where they have him, turn into the Red Hulk, and then when he gets dazed, it goes to human form. But kind of like how Hulkbuster has it, if he gains a certain amount of
Hmm.
power, he turns back into Red Hulk.
Can get riled back up or something.
Round back up, yeah. That'd be pretty cool, man. I would love to see something like that.
Sweet.
All right, man. Yeah, for me, honestly, man, you nailed it. Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, Agent Venom, of course. I mean, he's such a cool goddamn character.
Dude, like you don't even know. I made a full 4 threat Agent Venom character. Like
Oh, did you?
I've got this thing planned out for like my dream. Like he's got either a tactic card or a spender called Hail Mary because it's Flash Thompson.
Oh,
He's the quarterback. He throws a grenade that can either be physical or energy. If it's energy, it stuns enemies. If it's physical, it incinerates them. Like way
oh
too much
my
thought has been put into
God.
this
Well,
character that will never see the light of day, or at least my version of it.
I gotta ask, does he have rapid? Does he have rapid fire?
Dude, I made him a range 3, 5 strength rapid fire, but he needs a wild to get the rapid
Okay.
fire trigger.
Okay, that makes sense actually. Okay, yeah. Oh God, that's awesome, dude. That Hail Mary character card you just thought of. Right, AMG, just hire Nate. He'll balance out Agent Venom for you. He'll because this card sounds amazing. Just hire him.
Oh, dude, it would not be balanced. I would make him overpowered
Oh, and I would love
as
it.
they would let me.
I would love it. I'd fight, dude. I'd be all for it. I'm like, let it happen. It is what it is.
Yeah.
For me, man. Obviously, the other releases that I want to see, man. For me, I'm an Apocalypse Mark.
Okay. Yeah. I see that.
Love Apocalypse. I kind of want him. See, here's the deal with him. Like with Apocalypse, I kind of want him to work almost similarly to how Dormammu works. Like,
Yeah.
he's gonna have a leadership, right? But I want it to be anybody could be the Horseman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that
Dude,
idea.
yeah, like make the horsemen the gems kind of, and
Yeah.
like the leadership is just you get to give the horseman roles to different characters.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I would love to see. If they do take that approach, that'd be the way I would do it with him. Because I mean, who's almost every mutant I think has been a. I say that I'm general, but like, there's been a lot of characters that have been a horseman, right? Do you want to fill out that whole roster? Be like, okay, Gambit was a horseman in issue 35 of whatever. Make him a
Oh, dude,
horseman.
like
you know what I mean? Like,
Sentry was a horseman at some
Sentry
point.
was a
Like,
horseman. Yeah. I
there are very few limitations on
Very
it.
few limitations on it. So I think they should take that approach. And what I think they should do to flesh that out a little bit, they should add a second leadership, which is Archangel. And that's the next character that I want to come out, obviously. One of the coolest characters ever is Archangel.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think they do with Archangel is they make him a second leadership and actually make that like a generic leadership, which is like, oh, you get to do something crazy with whatever. I haven't thought of anything for it yet, but I think that'd be the more scoring version of the Horseman, which would be Archangel. And then obviously Apocalypse is the attrition, right? He's to maul you and put you into
Yeah.
dust or whatever the hell. You know what I'm saying? That man and man Bishop. Bishop's one I would love to see a model for in this game as well.
Would you want him to be X-Men and X-Force
Yeah,
or just X-Force?
both. I think both.
Both.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe I give maybe make him a leader in X Force. It's hard to say because I don't want him to be similar to Cable, right? Not that he is. It's just
Hmm.
I
But there are similarities there.
there are similarities there. You know what I mean? Um, you know, I want him to be both though. I mean, and be maybe a fourth thread or something, and just do a whole bunch of crazy things with him absorbing energy or whatever, and just being Bishop, and and another character that this is the last one I want to see, and this is like another Ultimate Encounter idea, by the way. Um, Onslaught.
Ooh, that's a
Uh,
spicy one.
yeah, it's just, right now. Granted, he probably never sees the light and day in this game, right? But you never know. I would love to see a model for Onslaught and just I
Yeah,
don't.
are you looking at the Magneto onslaught or the Red Skull onslaught?
Oh, dude, Magneto, obviously, Magneto for
Yeah, I was
sure.
about to say
Yeah,
I ask it, I know the answer,
yeah,
but
but
but the idea is cool.
the idea is really cool. An Onslaught would be, and from there, man. Honestly, if that's all that came out, right? Not that that's all, but if I can just get that, I think I'm set for life with this
Oh, dude,
game.
no,
I'm
I
good.
understand the notion. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, sure, more stuff is going to come out, but like, you give me Doctor Doom, you give me Agent Venom, like, we're okay, AMG.
I'm okay.
I'm good.
I'm good. Everything else from there is just like I might. I'm playing with Agent Venom, Doctor Doom. I'm good.
Yeah,
Like I'm fine.
every
Uh,
roster, every time.
every roster, every single time, and everybody's gonna hate me, and I'm like, that's fine because I'm having fun.
Yep.
All right,
All right.
guys. I think I'm gonna call it there, man. Nate, thank you, man. I think we're going on about an hour and a half here, man. I'm sorry if it took a little bit longer than usual, but thank you for coming on, man. I really do appreciate interviewing you, talking to you, getting to know you. Where you started with this game and where you're going with your YouTube channel. Well, what you're doing with your YouTube channel currently, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
talk about this game, man. I really do appreciate you just giving me the time here to do that, man.
Dude, no, thank you for having me on. It's always cool, and like Marvel's all about the crossovers, so it's great to always have that going on.
Absolutely, man. And that's it, guys. Have a wonderful, blessed day out there. Keep playing MCP. Remember to dislike the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and also Nate's channel will be in the description down below. If I remember to do that, if I forget, just tell me and I'll put it in there. I'm bad at that stuff, so I'm sorry.
Dude, you're fine. I
Yeah,
understand. Like there are times where I post a video and then I'm like, oh crap, I said this in the
yeah.
video. I need to go back and find this random link, and yeah, I got you.
Absolutely, guys. Take care, man. Oh, sorry. You guys can find Nate Gamers Guild. That's his YouTube channel. Is there anything else out there that we can find you at, Nate?
We've also got the a podcast going on now, which if you go to my YouTube channel and click on any of those videos, pretty much it'll have a link to where you can find the podcast.
Nice. Awesome. All right. That'll do it, guys. Have a wonderful, blessed day again. Take care. Keep playing MCP, and I'll see you on the next one.